On this episode of Hot Rod Hoarders, I'm going to show you the hidden treasures at one of my favorite drag strips of all time, Paradise Drag Strip in Calhoun, Georgia. The track's history goes back to 1961. That's when Otto Timms built the place. He wanted somewhere between Chattanooga and Atlanta to race, and Calhoun, Georgia was the right spot. So he built this quarter-mile track. He ran it for years, had match races there, super stock races. Lots of big names came there. Richard Petty even raced there in 1965 with his AFX car. Otto was the type of guy that made you feel like family, and he encouraged people, and he made them feel at home, made them feel welcome. So the track has been successful for all these years. Now, Otto passed away several years ago, and he left everything to his family, and they're still operating the track to this day. Back when I was a kid, I used to love going through my dad's photo albums, looking at cars he had owned, cars that he had painted. And one picture that always stood out to me was a picture of my dad's Henry J drag car on the starting line at Paradise Drag Strip. You can see the tower in the background. You can kind of also see that the starting line is not level. So like if you have a 4-speed car, the car will roll backwards when you're trying to stage. So you'll see in this picture, that's actually my dad's buddy, Junior, driving the car, and that's my dad holding the car in position. The point of this is that I was already in love with Paradise Drag Strip before I ever went there. Otto was a drag racer and a hot rodder at heart, so he had projects and toys of his own. Some of them were more functional than others, so I'm going to show you a mixture of the more usable cars and the stuff that just went out in the woods for years and years and years. Let's get started with some of the cars that were visible from the pits and the staging lanes at Paradise Drag Strip, and then stick with me a little bit later and I'm going to go out into the woods to show you some of the stuff that hasn't moved in decades. One of the more recognizable cars in the collection is the Paradise Rebel Vega Funny Car. Now this thing does have some history. I'm not sure exactly the details of that, so if I do dig up some history on it, I'll be sure to tell you guys about it. But for now, let's just take a look at how cool this thing is. It is totally 70s. It's got the old Vega Funny Car body, the old style frame, big block Chevrolet with the tunnel ram and 2 4s. Really cool piece. They also have a rear engine dragster. It's kind of a late 70s, early 80s type build. It's got a little small block in it. Still a functional car. Other cars that I spotted through the years was a 3rd generation Camaro, big tire bracket car. There was also a Ford Thunderbird, sort of a mid-80s car that reminds you of a pro stock car, or maybe a top sportsman car of the time. And then there was a Pro Street 1st generation Pontiac Firebird that sat on the property for years. Now, you might recognize this car because Mike Finnegan bought this car from the Timms family there at Paradise Drag Strip. And since he bought it, he's put a blower on it, he's driven it across country, he's done a lot of cool stuff with this car. And it's awesome to see this thing that sat, and I remember specifically seeing it sitting under the carport. It's awesome to see this thing back on the road and seeing it doing burnouts and doing all sorts of fun stuff. One of the cars that really got my attention was this split window Corvette Funny Car. Now this thing is kind of crazy because it was used for truck and tractor pulling way back in the 80s. Now these cars, they were known for their wheelies. You know, they were really kind of the showman's class of truck and tractor pulling. You know, flip up bodies, which this thing has an extremely thick body, something you couldn't pick up on your own. So it had a hydraulic ram that picked the thing up, and just a super cool piece. Now, it'd been sitting for years. The paint was a little rough, the tires were dry rotted, but I loved seeing this thing. Number one, I love this body style of Corvette. Number two, I grew up watching monster trucks and truck pulling and all that kind of stuff. So something like this really just kind of speaks to me. I haven't been able to track down the full history on this thing, but I know that David Ballou built it originally in the mid-80s. Then he ended up selling it to John Hanson, who repainted it and gave it this paint job, the Why Not a Vet on the side of it. Anyways, it sat here in the yard basically of the track for years. Moved around to a few different places. Since then it has been sold, and I've seen it bounce around on Craigslist and Marketplace a few different times. I think it's in Alabama. So now that we've seen the cars that were out in the open where you could see them from the staging lanes or from the pits or wherever, let's go into the woods to see some of the hidden treasure that this track has to offer. There's a lot of property here, And as you go further and further back in there, there's cars that have been in the woods for no telling how long. There's some pretty crazy stuff back in here. So let's go take a walk, and you'll be able to hear drag racing in the background. It was during one of their events. So just kind of walk along with me, check out some of the absolute treasures that are hidden in the woods at Paradise Drag Strip. Looks like a 62 Impala, four-door car. Man, you can't see much of it at all. It's grown up bad. We got another Impala way back in there that can't tell much about it. It's wrecked. Probably another four-door car. Alright, looks like we got an early Mustang convertible, maybe a 67 or 8. Maybe a 64 or 5. Man, these things are grown up. Yep. Still got the Malibu emblem on the back of it. Trees are just surrounding it. Crazy. Got a little square body stepside truck. This thing looks like it hadn't been here all that long. Pretty cool. Actually fairly solid. It's kind of crazy. Oh, look at these back wheels. That is awesome. Somebody's made those. They cut the center out, probably banded the wheel to make it wider, and then put that center way in there. Got an old station wagon here. I can't tell much about it. Let's see here. Looks like an A-body, maybe a Pontiac. Man, I don't know. All the windows are busted out of it. I'm sure it's rusty underneath. Still cool to see it out here in the woods though. Old Chevrolet truck hiding back in there. You can barely see a little piece of it. Back piece of something. Don't know what. We got some good stuff coming up here. We got an old race car. Looks like a little Chevy 2 race car right here. Race car project, let's say. It doesn't look like it ever got finished. No floors, no guts. It's got a Pinto or Mustang 2 front end under it. Completely gutted out. Got a narrow 9-inch housing hanging in back there, ladder bars, full roll cage. Man, it's actually pretty solid. What in the world? How is it not rusty? Ooh, this is a good one. 66 or 7 Nova. Pretty rotten. Pretty rotten. Sitting here flat on the ground. Man. I still like the little race car. That's my favorite so far. Here's a 4-door Nova. 66 or 7 model. It's had better days. It's had the front end kind of tore off of it here. We've got a 69 Chevelle, it looks like, or a piece of one anyways. It's had trees fall on it and all kind of stuff. Man, it's packed in here right next to about a mid-70s Camaro. It's got the aluminum bumpers. Mid-70s car. And then we got a 57 Ford. It's a 2-door wagon, so that would have been a ranch wagon. And look at this. Drag strip racetrack. Let's see if we can get a little closer look at, see what that says. Okay, this says, up on top, you can barely see it in those faded letters, Paradise Inn. Yeah, Paradise Inn Drag Strip Racetrack, Calhoun, Georgia. Oh man, how cool is that? We got a, looks like an NHRA sticker on the windshield. Man, otherwise this car is just absolutely killed. Man, it's rough. It's got John's Pistons sticker. That's awesome. Insides is just full of stuff. Oh, this is amazing. Look at that windshield. How did that not get busted out? Sitting here in the woods. Crazy. That right there, that's got to be the coolest thing here. We got to get through some briars and stuff. See if we can get there. Oh yeah. Yeah, can't really read the other side either, but man, that is cool. Let's see what's inside. Anything good? You see? That is just beyond cool. I guess I gotta get to the back of it and see if there's any lettering back there. Here's old drag racing slick, all wadded up. It's pretty cool. Oh, that's an old Mickey Thompson. Cool. Man, this. Let's see here. What does this say on the back? It's got lettering back here. It says, home of the. Oh man, I can't see it. Paradise Scramblers, I think is what that says. Home of the Paradise Scramblers. It doesn't get much cooler than that. That is awesome. It's rusty, but man, it is cool. About a 60 model, looks like a 60 model Chevrolet. 4-door car, no motor. But look at that interior in there. Isn't that crazy? How did that not just completely rot away? Still together. I got a late Model S10. That doesn't look like it belongs, but whatever. And then look at this. Not too often you see two 60s GTOs stacked on top of each other. The bottom one looks like about a 65. Top one is a 66 or 7. Man. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Look at that GTO in the grill. This thing is demolished. Get a good look at that frame and rear end. We got a little 2-door Falcon. It's had a bad day. I don't know if that was a wreck or if a tree fell on it, but either way, tore up pretty bad. No motor. Got a couple of tires stacked in here. Here's a 4-door Fairlane. Looks like about a 63, if I had to guess. But I see the little fins on the back. That tells me 62 or 3. Pretty clean car. Mostly together. Some kind of big Chevrolet hood. I'm guessing mid to late 60s. Okay. Here we go. Got a 55 Chevrolet. 2-door post. Man, it is rotten. It's been painted a few times, it looks like. It's got lots and lots and lots of pine needles. 57 Chevrolet front end sitting here upside down. I'd say that's rusty, but look at that. Stainless steel trim. Still there. Still looks pretty good. Some crumbled up Chevelle fender is what it looks like. I always like the looks of these little Falcons, little 2-door hardtop. They got a cool little body line, cool roof line, and they're little lightweight cars. Good for drag racing. There's our GTO buddies again. Best friends forever. Let's see what we got here. Oh, Chatsworth, Georgia dealer plate. Cool. Yep, it's a big old car. Big old Malibu. Now this one's actually pretty solid too. Kind of crazy that it's so solid sitting out here like this. It's obviously been here a while. Very cool. 3rd gen Camaro. Pretty crusty. Oh, it's a hot rod. It's got a cowl hood. Can't see much else. It's kind of yucky looking. Let's see what else we got here. We got an early Falcon, 2-door hardtop. Man, it's got moss growing on it pretty bad. And we got another little Ford here. This one's pretty solid. That's a buildable car. I'm sure the floor pans and stuff are rotten, but very buildable compared to its brother over here. Got some kind of old Ford right there, Torino LTD. I don't know. Might have to help me out on that one in the comments, because I don't know my Fords all that well. Pretty complete car. Pretty solid too. Very buildable. Some kind of frame. Looks like maybe a A-body. It's hard to say. Let's see here. We got a 57 Chevrolet 4-door station wagon. Looks like it was a 210. If I'm looking at my details right here. 210 station wagon. It's got a lot of rust in there. It's okay. It's got some moss growing on it. A little bit here and there. Okay. We got what used to be a Pontiac. Pretty messed up. Oh, we got a 4-door Chevelle. What are we looking at here? 66 is what it's looking like. 66 4-door Chevelle. It's a Malibu trim package. I mean, it could use some quarters, but very buildable. Crazy. Little Falcon station wagon. Love these Falcon wagons. Those are cool. And it is absolutely full with hubcaps and random stuff. I see a transmission poking out. I kind of want to get a closer look in there. See what else is in there. Mainly hubcaps. Yep, almost all hubcaps. All right, we got a little Chevy 2. Pretty early one. 62 to 65. It looks like 2-door post. It's a 300, which means it had a little bit of trim on it. The 100s had no trim. They were your base model cars. Let's see here. We got an early Mustang. Wind is busted out of it. Let's see what we got. 2-door hardtop. Malibu, it says. Pretty rough. Hey, we got a Corvette. I can't tell what year it is yet. I'll get a little closer to it. It's obviously a 3rd generation, a C3 car, but I can't see much about it to tell if it's an early one or a late one or what it is. All I can tell is that it's had the front end cut off of it, frame and all. That must have been wrecked. It's a neat old barn. What do we got here? Torino, I'm guessing. Torino with the back end cut off of it. Got a few little treasures in there, hubcaps and wheels and stuff. Hoods and the engine blocks, all kinds of stuff. Got some random parts over here, truck beds, Motors, a little small block Chevrolet. Yeah. Another little Chevrolet motor. Another little Chevrolet motor, 6-cylinder. Can't tell what that one is. Not a Chevrolet. I don't know. 57 Chevrolet hood sitting here. Back around to that 55 we saw earlier. There's a 57 front end. Got a little small block motor hiding under the hood there. Alright, we got a 58 Ford. 2-door post. Man, this car's got a lot of trim and stuff on it. Bumper still looks usable. That's pretty good. Let's see what else we can see about it. Windows are busted out of it. But man, lots of usable trim. We've got a little Corvair panel van. That thing's got some serious patina and rust. What else we got? Got old Chevrolet station, or it's not a station wagon, panel van, panel truck. I'll get it right here in a minute. Yeah. It looks like maybe a 58 or 9. Rusty. Pretty cool though. '64 5 Chevelle, 2-door hardtop, originally blue it looks like. This one's cool, 56 Chevrolet, looks like a 210, 4-door station wagon. Pretty rusty, been here a while. Trees laying on it, trees pushing up against it. 55 Chevrolet station wagon, 2-door. Got a C10 or maybe 20. Yeah, I think it's a 20. It's 8 lug. It's buried. I can't even tell what the car is next to it. Not sure. Can't get in there to it for all the briars and sticks and stuff. Oh, here's another 55 it looks like. 55 Chevrolet, 2-door post. Pretty crusty old car. Still cool. Alright, let's see. Let's see if we can guess. It's a 68 or 9. See a Malibu emblem on it. It's 2-door hardtop. Mostly complete. A couple of Fords. We got a little Falcon, 2-door hardtop. It's crunched in on the front fender here and on the back and everywhere else. We've got a, looks like 64 Ford Fairlane. That's cool. 2-door hardtop. Windows are busted out of it, unfortunately. It's probably rotten underneath, but pretty presentable out here. These are really neat cars. A couple of really good Fords. I didn't even notice this car sitting here. I can't get to it. Looks like a 64 Chevelle. Maybe a 65. Cannot tell. 2-door hardtop, I can tell that. That's about it. Here we go, 2 64 Impalas it looks like. Both of them look like they're 2-door hardtops.
I gotta say a huge thank you to the Timms family. They've always been welcoming and supportive, and I just appreciate them letting me roam around in the woods and check out all the cars and stuff in their collection. And I just gotta say, to support your local drag strip, keep those places open. And if you're ever in the Calhoun, Georgia area, you gotta check out Paradise Drag Strip. It is one of the coolest tracks in the country.